Okay, let's go over the 4 different scenarios that occur in these 4 different videos. In the first video, we have -3 plus -2 equals -5. In the second one, we have 20 plus -7 equals +13. In the third, we have -100 plus 40 equals -60. And in the fourth, we have 35 plus 20 equals 55. Now, looking at these 4 different scenarios, can we make any rules to try to determine how to add and subtract negatives? Before we go through the rules, let's just review for a second the idea of value, or sometimes it's called absolute value in math. When I refer to the value of a number in this lesson, all I mean is that the number is positive no matter what. Yes, that's right. Whether it is a negative number like -23 or a positive number like 33, the value of both of these numbers will be positive. Let's look at the original problem and pay attention to the first column. Can you see if you can find any patterns here? Did you notice that in the first problem we had 2 negatives, and in the second problem we had 2 positives? So what rule would you come up with for adding 2 numbers that are either both negative or both positive? If we remember the concept of values that we talked about before, we can now look at both of these problems and realize that all we have to do is add the values in the problem and make sure to keep the sign that was used in the original problem in the answer. So if we added 2 negatives together, all we did was add their values together and keep the negative sign in the answer. So for -3 plus -2 equals -5, if we would add the values, 3 plus 2, we would get 5. But since the problem both had negatives, our answer wouldn't be +5, but -5. Looking at the second column, we have 20 plus -7 equals 13, and -100 plus 40 equals -60. Can you see if you find any patterns? Do you notice that in the problem section we are adding 1 positive and 1 negative? So what rule can you come up with for adding a positive and a negative together? When is the answer positive? And when is the answer negative? The answer lies in looking closely at 2 different points. First, we need to find the answer. To do that, we should find the difference between the values. So the difference between 20 and 7 is 13, and the difference between 100 and 40 is 60. But how do I know if the answer is positive or negative? For that, we look at the larger value in the problem. In the first problem, the larger value is 20. That is a positive number, so the answer is positive. In the second problem, the larger value is 100, which is negative, so the answer is negative. Okay, here's a summary of the rules. For adding with the same sign, we add the values together and keep the sign used in the original problem. When we want to add with different signs, we first see which one is the larger value. If it's positive, the answer is positive. If the larger value is negative, then the answer is negative. And then afterwards, we subtract the values to determine the actual answer to the problem. Let me leave you off with this final discussion point. Watch this last scenario and see if you can use the rules we learned together to find the solution. You may need to pause the video and review previous concepts in order to complete this problem. Whichever way, good luck, and it was great teaching you.
Okay, I'm getting the mail.
Okay, let's see what I have here. Circular, circular. A bill! card company. I always get so nervous.